We are joined now live in studio by Oregon Senator Ron Wyden. Senator, thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thanks for having me back.
Always good to have you, Senator. First, let's talk about the shutdown. The House right now, currently as we're speaking, voting on a measure to reopen the government. What about this talk that the Democrats caved to Republicans, because not included this is the extension of subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, and then there's a lot of criticism over Chuck Schumer's leadership because of that. How do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, in Oregon, we have folks with 500% increases in their health insurance premiums. And what I did at the outset is I said, I'm going to draw a red line here. I'm going to say I'm not going to support a bill unless it provides those folks some real relief. And I believe after this legislation passes, which is expected tonight, we're going to be back with the same kind of challenge. And what I'm doing is saying to my colleagues, I've got ideas for coming up with ways to deal with these premiums that can be bipartisan. And I suggested that before, and I think given what Republican senators and House members are going to hear, now that people are seeing these cuts go in, they may be more open to working with us.
Right. Now, Senator Wyden, if Republicans don't vote to extend the expiring health insurance subsidies, would you then support another government shutdown if the GOP doesn't compromise?
Look, I'm not going to speculate about various scenarios. What I'm going to do is concentrate on getting things done. I've worked with Republicans before. I passed the one tough law to go after big insurance. They say they're interested in that. That's what I'm focused on.
Okay, let's talk about the big bombshell that dropped this morning, and that would be the release of some Epstein emails. And in one of those emails, Epstein basically says the president spent some time with one of the victims at his place. Where does this all shake out now as far as this? Are we going to see more releases of emails, more evidence?
Well, we're continuing our investigation, and I continue to believe that following the money is the best way to get a permanent solution. I will tell you what we've seen today, though, looks like a tip of the iceberg, and it could kind of fall into a sea of lies.
All right. Now, Senator, back here at home in Oregon, we know that ICE is considering possibly opening up a detention facility in Newport now near the coast. What are your concerns with that?
Well, our small, proud coastal town, in my view, deserves a lot better than to have a unilateral decision from Washington, D.C. about another detention center. And remember, those kids walk by the aquarium and they run into all kinds of challenges already. I don't want to see them be right next to a detention center. And I'm going to have an open-to-all town hall meeting in about 7-8 days to listen to the community. That's what I always do. I've had more than 1,100 of these town hall meetings, and that's the best way to see what they think. But I don't see them being supportive of this.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to kind of look in your crystal ball a little bit. You know, we have the midterms are going to be here before you know it. You know, look how fast things are going right now. Where do you see the country as we head into springtime and as we head into that important election?
Guys, the best politics is good policy. That's what always has been kind of my lodestar. And that's why I'm going to be going back in a few days. I'll be concentrating on getting help for this couple that I've been talking to that's seeing 500% increases in their premiums. When that happens, you can't buy groceries, you can't pay rent, you can't take care of shoes for kids. That's what I'm focused on. You do that, that's the best politics.
All right. Senator Wyden live with us here at 5 o'clock. Senator, thank you so much for your time.
Let's do it again.
Always good to have you here. Thank you, Senator.